Now, and now we conclude the section on the taking of the individual liberation vows. So, Pakmodrupa, in his auto commentary, divides this section on the taking of the Pratimoksha vows, the individual liberation vows, into 8 sections, right? We briefly looked at the 4 sections already: the essence, the classifications, from whom the vow is taken, the ceremony of taking the vows. So now the benefits, the beneficial effects. And there are 11 beneficial effects. If one has disciplined conduct, then food, clothing, and so forth are found without hardship. So the basic necessities will come without hardship. You want more than basic hardship, then more than basic necessities, then of course it will involve a lot of hardships. Due to being ornamented by disciplined conduct, one's flag of fame is well known in the 10 directions. So you will become famous, it says. Yeah? And this is not ordinary famous. You know? This is not TikTok famous, okay? This is like meaningful fame, you know, as in people admire someone who has disciplined conduct. The Dharma protecting deities impart radiance to one's body. So the good forces, you know, will actually land you, you know, give you a complexion that is radiant. One is worthy of having no rival. We sometimes, you know, try so hard not having rivals, but in an unworthy way, so we force it. But here, no. Your disciplined conduct is such that it knows no rival. And it can only know no rival, or not it can only, but one of the important factors of the state of no rival is you do not have jealousy going around and creating rivals in your mind. Harmful sentient beings cease harming you and instead begin to benefit you. So not only the gods, meaning the good forces, but even unfriendly, malevolent forces begin to support you and do the opposite of giving harm to you, but to protect you. Distinctive samadhis are born in one's mind. So samadhis are these stable states of concentration. They will begin to arise easily, because if we have disciplined conduct, not only is, like, you know, our conscience clear, free, but the discipline itself helps settle things. Now, all the dharmas of the Buddha ripens in one's mind. So the teachings of the Buddha becomes clearer and clearer, arising in our own hearts. Not just accumulation of knowledge and information, but the knowledge and the information that we accumulate, you know, begin to like really be blended together with our experience of these teachings. One sleeps soundly and has good dreams. Many reasons for inability to sleep, but many of these reasons is still due to the mind not at ease, When the mind not at ease, then the body not at ease. When the body not at ease, then the body causes the mind not to be at ease. So then very difficult, this vicious loop. So very soon, what's causing the lack of sleep, the inability to sleep, now it's hard to exactly pinpoint. At the time of death, which is a type of sleep, in a way, every night we experience mini deaths. So then, at the time of death, one has no remorse and dies with a feeling of happiness. So there's a connection between, sleeping and dying, sleep and death. Smooth this one out, smooth that one out. This one not so smooth, some indication of how that one is going to go. Not trying to cause panic. Panic will not solve this problem, but one way to check. This feeling of no remorse, meaning again, your mind is clear, conscience is clear. And it's not just morality, conscience is clear, but that you don't have worries. You're not carrying burdens. You say, the day is done. Now it's time to sleep. What comes tomorrow, comes tomorrow. That's fine. The day is done. And then this life is done. Time to lay it down. One obtains the bountiful results of the higher status gods and humans, meaning beyond this lifetime. And you might feel, oh, why do I want these things? I think sometimes we again, many of us, Buddhists, are too fast to throw all sorts of good things out. Oh, fame, no, I should not desire. Oh, good rebirth, no, I should not desire. No, the Buddha did not teach this. The Buddha says there is a skillful way and beneficial way. There is a skillful way to obtain beneficial fame. There is an unskillful way to obtain beneficial fame. Then worse, there is an unskillful way to obtain not beneficial fame. There's a skillful way to obtain good rebirth, good conditions. Then there is the not skillful way to try to obtain good rebirth, good conditions. And then worse, there's the not skillful way of obtaining bad rebirth, bad conditions. All those, we have to carefully choose. So even sometimes, when we read like, you should win immediately, we're so, oh, no, as Dharma practitioners, we should not win. We should not think about winning. Not true. There's a skillful way to obtain meaningful victory. Then there's unskillful way to obtain meaningful victory. Then worse, unskillful way to obtain meaningless victory. Then then finally the last one, right? To the three types of enlightenment. Whether it's the enlightenment of a Shravaka, here translated as the three aspects of enlightenment, but it's the three types of enlightenment. The enlightenment of a Shravaka, Shravaka Bodhi, the enlightenment of Pratyeka Buddha Bodhi, and then the Samyasam Buddha Bodhi, the full and complete Bodhi. Through taking the vow of individual liberation, with the three intentions. Remember, yesterday we ended there. It says 3 intentions are important when you take the vow. The firm intention to achieve nirvana, to put an end to suffering once and for all. And then the firm intention to guard the precepts without interruption. And the firm intention to take all the precepts and not leave any out. To make our training with the precepts, comprehensive. So third is comprehensive. Second is time, uninterrupted. And the first is leading to the goal of nirvana. So these are the 11 benefits. It's a quote from some sutra that the Buddha taught about the benefits of taking the pratimoksha vows. Then the precepts. If one thinks that those beneficial effects will come by merely taking the vow, then you're mistaken. You have to guard the specific precepts. So when we take the individual liberation vow, that is a more general vow. That vow is, I want to end samsara. I want to end samsara. Then Jigten Sumgön says, better if you add something, which is, I want to end samsara not just for myself, but for all beings. But to end samsara for all beings, right? This is important. Doesn't mean running around trying to fix other people. Buddhists will have some success fixing other people. Most of us, no success fixing other people, then our own things that we need to fix, meanwhile, we neglect. So, when we say, I want to end samsara for myself and others, and therefore now I take the individual liberation vow. In other words, now I practice renunciation, renouncing the causes of harm. That is a personal act. A personal act, a personal decision with a view, with a motivation towards all. Yeah, so we take that vow. Then that vow, depending on our status, whether we are laity or monastic, that vow is supported by different precepts. So for laity, 5 precepts. On special days, laity can take more than 5, which is to take what's known as the 8 precepts. So then to the 5, you add to the 5, not discussed here, but you should know, to the basic 5, first modify the 3rd. The 3rd one, for general lay precepts, the 3rd one is not to commit, basically the gist of that is not to engage in what we call adultery. Going beyond the bonds, the boundaries that we have established with our partners, with other people, so that's the general 3rd precept. But when we take 8, the 3rd one is modified into temporary celibacy. So no sexual activity at all. 3rd, in the context of 8 precepts. So now you have the 5, then you add 3 more. The 3 more is not to decorate yourself. Not to deck out in jewelry and ornaments. You simplify your appearance. Then not to sleep on It literally says high beds. This is status symbol. I don't know how literally you need to take it, I mean, if you're sleeping on a bunk bed, you say, oh, 8 precepts there. Sorry, I cannot climb up there. That is not the meaning, I feel that is not the meaning, okay? If you happen to be on a train trip, with you cannot tell your passenger, sorry, I'm taking 8 precepts. Can you climb up there? I have to sleep down here. It means, high beds means like, fancy. So, but, you and I all getting older, we know, beds, like if you don't sleep right, it'll be painful. It's not talking about torturing yourself. So you have to, don't sleep on a bed that will make you want to sleep longer and longer and longer. So on the days you take the 8 precepts, try to simplify bedding, basically. Don't spend too much time being lazy on the bed. Then the last one is not to eat after noon. Some traditions say up to about 2 p.m., not beyond 2 p.m. Then some traditions measure it by saying, as long as your shadow has not gone more than, I think, 4 fingers, within that you can eat. Then after that, don't eat. So that is talking. So if you look at these last 3, it's about simplifying. It's not about denial, especially those of us carrying Judeo-Christian, types of guilt about pleasures of the flesh, right? We easily think, oh, these 3 is to punish you for liking the pleasures of the flesh. No, please don't take the 8 precepts with this kind of, burden. Really think of it as, now I just simplify. Yeah, I simplify my appearance. I simplify even a basic need like sleep. Yes, sleep well, but don't indulge. I also simplify food. I don't need to eat all the time. Simplify. So that's the 8 temporary precepts for laity. Temporary means you don't have to take it for life. A day, 2 days, 3 days. In Buddhist cultures, people like to take the 8 precepts on the full moon and new moon, especially. So at least twice a month, you kind of practice some simplicity and restraint. So then, if you are a monastic, then monastics are divided into 3 categories. Remember, there's probationary nun, so they have their set of precepts. Then there is the probationary nun. Right? We discussed why there is this scenario or this special case, why there's no probationary monks. It all has to do, right, with pregnancy. So when the day comes that men can get pregnant, then somebody has to make probationary monk's vows. Then novice monk and nun, they have a set of precepts that govern their lives. Then fully ordained monks and nuns, they have the precepts that protect their individual liberation vow. So here, continuing. Since one needs to guard the precepts as undamaged after taking the vow, the 6th topic and the precepts is taught. So here it tells you, fully ordained ones have 253 main precepts, along with the subsidiary precepts. Not 250 main, not 253 main, and then unspecified subsidiary. Mains and subsidiary altogether 253 in the Tibetan Mulasarvastivada monastic code. In the Theravada is 227. In the Chinese is 200, and Chinese, Korean, and Vietnamese is 250. The Chinese, Korean, and Vietnamese, their Vinaya, their monastic lineage is called Dharma Guptaka. Dharma Guptaka. In the Tibetan is called Mula Sarvastivada. So these are, and then in the Theravada is the Theravada Vinaya lineage. Then intermediate nuns have 22 main precepts along with the subsidiary. Novice monks and nuns have 10 main precepts along with the subsidiary. There, in that case, the subsidiary is 6 more actually, so 16 in some traditions. For lay people have 4 root precepts, plus the precepts to not take intoxicants, making the 5 main precepts, along with the subsidiary precepts. The 10 non-virtues, so remember the 10 non-virtues, even though they are not given as specific precepts of training. And those taking the one-day vow have the 8 branch precepts, which is the 8 that I discussed, the one day. You can take them day by day. Every day you renew. Oh, today I want to take the 8 again. Oh, today I want to take the 8 again. The 10 non-virtues, and again, the 10 non-virtues. So when you take the 5 lay vows, even 5 lay precepts, there are the 5 lay precepts, then always remember the 10 non-virtues. If you take the 8 day by day 8 precepts, then again, don't forget the 10 non-virtues. The particular precepts should be known from the Vinaya scriptures. So the specifics of all these training, consult the scriptures in the Vinaya for the details, he says. The occasion of obtaining and losing the vow. One who has gone for refuge to the sublime 3 jewels, who trusts karmic action and result, and who has the 3 intentions and the 10 presences, obtains the vow of the last, on the last of the 3 expressions of the actions. Meaning, when you obtain the vow, you repeat, I will, I will, I will. At the 3rd, I will, then you have obtained the vow. Yeah. So this is showing, this is emphasizing you need to, from your heart, which is taken refuge in the 3 jewels, trust karmic cause and effect, understand karmic cause and effect, have the 3 intentions, have the 10 presences. Yeah? Except, like I said, if you're taking the lay vow or the one-day vow, there is no division of the teacher into Kempo and Loban. That one is not necessary. Obviously, also no monastic articles, bowl, robes, you don't have that. Concerning the occasions of losing the vow, and then quoting from Abhidharma Kosha, offering the training back, meaning you say, now I want to give back my vows. I want to give back. Or death. Or a cut root. What is a cut root? Having given rise to a very, very powerful wrong view. The passing of the night, or the arising of becoming a hermaphrodite. This is a kind of a you're like, what? What is that? So look at the footnote. Concerning the arising of hermaphroditism, one loses one's vow of individual liberation if one's gender changes more than twice. The vow is not lost after one gender change, for example, from an illness, or after the second, for example, if one recovers from that illness and changes back. But one more change and the vow is lost. Okay, why is the vow lost? Lost doesn't mean cannot take back, okay? It just means that now you have to switch to whatever your gender has stabilized to. And so even apparently in the Buddha's time, there were cases of people's gender change. Actually, more accurately, you would say like sexual change, because actual sexual organs, how miraculously or however, changes. Because there are stories like that from the Buddha's life. And so this is why then later masters, right? Like I said, all these lists, 8 of this, 7 of that, 10 of that, and not necessarily the Buddha talk about it that way. Later masters collect all the materials, then all the cases have to be accounted for. So this is one of them. Treasury of Abhidharma Kosha, definitely not, the Buddha didn't compose. Later masters compile things. In these ways, the vow of individual liberation is lost. The passing of the night, right, that refers to, if you take a one-day vow, so then passing of the night, then the next day, that's finished. Yeah, so it says that one-day vow is lost with the passing of the night. The other 7 types of vow have in common the other 4 causes of losing the vow. Yeah. So here losing the vow does not, right, necessarily have a negative connotation. It's just saying, when the vow has expired. Another aspect, if any of the 4 root precepts are broken with all the 4 branches, since one is then defeated by non-virtue, the vow is lost. So this last aspect is talking about if you break the precepts. The 4 precepts are, footnote 82, not to kill a person or fetus, not to steal, not to lie, and not to engage in sexual misconduct. The 4 branches involved in the breaking of a precept are the object, the intention, the actual act, and the object was affected. So this is important to elaborate, this last 4. The object, the intention, the actual act, and the object was affected. This is according to the Abhidharma Kosha system. In the Theravada system, they have 5 criterions. Now, what it means here is when these 4 criterions are present, right, with regards to any of the 4 precepts, then it's a complete act of breaking a precept. Let's use one example. The object. You see something, you know it doesn't belong to you, and you know it belongs to someone else. If you see an object and you don't know, or you mistakenly think this is yours, then you take it. You have not fulfilled the first criterion. Make sense? Yeah, you see an object, but now you know, this is, Jose Luis's hat. I'm not Jose Luis, but I've been looking at that hat for a long time. He's not paying attention. Maybe he doesn't need it now, And then, so the object exists. You know the status of the object. Then, intention. Now, I really want that. So intention has to be there. If you take it because you're afraid someone else might steal it, I better take it and keep it until I see Jose Luis. That's not stealing. Then the actual act, you have to take action. Taking action can be indirect. You can tell someone, hey, can you take that for me? Even if you don't use the word steal, okay? Can you take that for me? So taking action. And you succeed in taking. If you fail in taking, there is still negative karma, but it's not the negative karma of stealing. You have not broken the precept of not stealing. Yeah? If the first three exist, you know that thing is not yours. You intend to make it yours. You take action to take it, but you fail because Jose Luis turns up. You have not stolen. And therefore, you have not broken the precept. But if you succeed, right, then it says here, the vow is lost. The individual liberation vow is lost. So you need to retake that vow. It says here, kill a person or fetus because, I know whether you agree or not, in the Buddhist text it's very clear that life begins at conception, where the sperm and the ovum meets, a being's consciousness latches on, there's life there. Yeah, so it says that. The methods of restoring the vow if it is damaged. Now, there is the breaking of the vow and there is the damaging of the vow. So if you do the things that damage, you can restore without retaking. So now the last section. There are two topics concerning the methods of restoring a damaged vow. Restoring a damaged main precept and restoring a damaged subsidiary precept. So now, Pakmodrupa distinguished between a main precept and a secondary precept. And so like I said, for example, in the lay precepts, the first four is main, the fifth one, taking alcohol intoxicant, is a secondary. In the monks, they have 7 categories, or 7, 8. Some are main and others are subsidiary. There are 3 situations concerning restoring a damaged main precept. So now talking about main. So for main, one who has offered back the vow, but whose moral conduct is uncorrupted, and now wants the vow back, nonetheless needs to take the vow from the beginning. That means, let's say a monk or nun, have not broken any of the precepts, but gives it back and say, I don't want to train as a monk and nun anymore. Now, for them, they can have it back, but they have to begin from the beginning, as in terms of the ceremony, they have to go through. First, taking refuge again, then take the lay vows, then take the novice vows, and then if they're nun, they take the probationary nun, and then they take the fully ordained nun. So that's one scenario. One has offered back the vow and whose moral conduct is corrupted. So now, you have done something wrong and you have been discovered. Then you give it back. You give back the vows. And now once the vow back, In this case, you also have to do it from the beginning. Third scenario. This is more serious. For one who has not offered back the vow and whose moral conduct is corrupted. According to the tradition that accepts the concealment or a damaged precept to be one of the branches that obstructs the vow, if there was no concealment of the damaged precept, the vow can be repaired through penance. What does this mean? This means, first of all, according to the tradition, meaning even Pakmodrupa is showing us, even among the different monastic communities, some say when you conceal a damaged precept, you are causing an obstruction to your vow. For those communities, if you have damaged your precept, but you did not hide it, which is the next part. If there was no concealment, you did not hide it, right? So you have done something that have broken your monastic precept, but you have not tried to hide it from other people. You actually admit. And you are living in a community that says, that's okay. Now that you have not hid it, you can restore your vow by penance. And what is penance? It's a translation. This no English word matches the Tibetan or the Sanskrit. It means like handling the garbage, offering tea, making thousands of prostrations, etc., etc. Some act of contrite, some act of like apologizing to the community and say, oh, for the next week, I'm going to clean the toilets. I'm going to sweep the floor more, If there was concealment, since the vow cannot be taken again, one should abandon the concealed non-virtue using the 4 powers. And so here, but if there was concealment, if there was an active attempt to hide your mistake from others, then you have to use the 4 powers to restore it. Now, concerning restoring a damaged secondary precept, there are no damaged subsidiary precepts that will not be purified by simply stop doing it. Abandon it. Don't do it anymore. So an easier way to fix when it's a secondary precept. My advice, summarizing the above through reason, if worried about exacerbating even a small illness, one shuns disagreeable food, it is then reasonable to renounce the cause of continued suffering, which is non-virtuous action, and to strive to actualize virtue. And so he ends with a very simple analogy. Hopefully, again, to me, it's good. It reminds us, don't approach this subject of karma. Don't approach this subject of taking vows, training in the precepts, in a guilt-based context. In a guilt-based, because Pakmodrupa ends by simply putting it as, it's like eating food, If you don't want to feel bad physically, don't eat the food that is disagreeable to your constitution. It's as simple as that. If you don't want suffering, don't create the causes of suffering. If you want to be able to have a good night's sleep, don't eat the kinds of food that cause indigestion and keep you up and give you a heartburn. So that's how Pakmodrupa ends this chapter 7. Thus ends the 7th section of engaging by stages in the teachings of the Buddha, a teaching of karmic causality and the vows of individual liberation. So we will end here today. And with the supplication to Guru Rinpoche, page 9. Guru Rinpoche, Buddha of the 3 times great bliss, source of all siddhis, wrathful subduer of maras, who removes all obstacles, grant your blessings, we pray. Through them may all obstacles, outer, inner, and secret, be quelled, and may all our aspirations be fulfilled. Changchu Semcho Rinpoche, Ma Ge Banam Ge Gyurche, Ge Ba Nyam Ba Me Pa Yang, Gone Gong Du Bel War Shou.